Good morning. I'm Dr. Divya Parashar. My sole purpose in life is to keep people sane.
There are ways in which we think which are obstacles of effective communication, and I want to talk about 4 or 5 of them in that way. The first one is mind reading, where instead of asking the loved one how they're feeling or their thoughts, people sometimes decide that they know based on their nonverbal behaviors, based on faulty interpretations of their actions. And they will most often assume it's negative. So, for instance, she looks angry, must be something I said, or he isn't responding to my question, he's just not interested, whereas the truth could be something else. This creates hostility and misunderstanding. So the best thing is to just ask clearly, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Help me understand you better. Fortune telling, predicting the worst case scenario, or just staying with persistent patterns of behavior despite the reassurance from the other one saying, I'm not going to do that, and that they have heard them out and they are going to respond accordingly. I know he's saying he's willing to curb his drinking, but you know what? He's going to go back to his old ways. We aren't really giving the other person a chance, are we? And where is the trust that other person's going to constantly feel dismissed, even if they're motivated to want to come 2 steps forward? This one's a big one, personalizing. When you criticize the person as well as the problem, I want you to discern the difference here. The problem should be defined in terms of what a person does, not who he or she is. So please stay focused on the problem and not the behavior. The 2 most common types are labeling, you're stupid, you're a moron, and generalizing, you never listen to me, you're always doing this. So again, we're making sweeping generalizations. Fourth one, my most favorite, which people who've known me have seen me work it as trash cans or distracting, trash can fights. There are 2 types of distracting. One involves leaving the theme of the discussion and bringing up other past, present, future possible problems. Please stay on one problem at a time. So and not bring up things that you did this then also, this is what happened then. Please focus on the current issue. A related problem is a way of distracting is one person's bringing up one problem and the other one's bringing up another problem. Please stay with one problem till it's resolved. Please don't get into the attack, counter-attack aspects. The polarized language, please, again, what you say, what couples say often, or people, not just couples, divides them more. This includes right versus wrong, truth versus lie, never versus always. They only create judgments and cause trouble. So stick to neutral terms, express more beliefs, perceptions, feelings, values, and so on. So example, you're always on the phone when I talk to you, it's so wrong, would be better replaced with I feel ignored when I'm talking to you when you're on the phone. Can we agree to keep the phone aside when we are having a conversation? When you keep saying you do this, you do that, you're actually attacking the other person, making him or her more defensive. But when you stem from your point saying I feel when you do this, it makes me this way, trust me, the response is going to be different. Do not be angry and charged up and try and resolve a conflict. So do not start a conversation when either or 2 of you are charged up and are just attacking each other. Please calm down, talk, otherwise listening is compromised. If both parties or even one party is angry, I will always say take a time out, just say, you know what, we're upset at this point, calmly. Can we just take a break and come back and talk about this? But do come back and talk about it, whether it takes 5 minutes, a little longer. But you're showing mutual respect and respect for yourself by wanting to come back calmer and rationally addressing a conflict. There's an acronym I use called TRAP. Please do not fall in the trap. TRAP is threaten, react, and protect. Threaten, one person comes and inadvertently threatens the partner with an attack, an accusation, or something. The react is the other person comes up with a counter attack, which is often defensive, again threatening the partner. So and then of course the protect part keeps coming up. Counter defense starts coming up from the other partner, and the conflict continues and there is absolutely no resolution into an argument. So when you realize you're falling into this loop, you need to do something about it. So in a nutshell, some tips for effective conflict resolution. Never assume what your partner is thinking or feeling until you have checked out whether those assumptions in plain language are right. Never assume or predict how your partner will react or what your partner will accept or reject. Again, make it a level playing field to begin with. Please do not put labels on your partner. Do not make labeling, sweeping judgments about feelings, especially about whether they're real or important. Sarcasm is dirty fighting. Please don't engage in that. Forget the past, stay in the here and now. What you did in the last year, last month, that morning is not relevant to the current issue. The changes you ask cannot possibly be retroactive. So focus on what is currently the issue and work forward in terms of a resolution. Please don't use past fights as weapons that have been saved carefully to bring up. Agree to take a timeout if responses on either part become punitive or hurtful in nature. If either party calls for a timeout, please respect that. Please come back and resolve the issue. Address chronic irritants and conflicts that you know are of a recurrent nature. So that's just going to erode away the fabric of the relationship if they are unaddressed. So what do we do when we are faced with a conflict? Be specific when you introduce a problem or a gripe. I feel this situation happened and this is how I felt and therefore this upset me. Let's talk about specific behaviors and incidents. Please don't just complain no matter how specifically. We need to ask for a reasonable change that will relieve one gripe at a time. I always like appreciation. Start your discussion by appreciating what the other person has done right. That's always a good point. You're just acknowledging the whole person and not just the problems. Then tell the behaviors that may have been affecting you. Again, one issue at a time. Always try and see if you can meet halfway, especially if it is a strong conflict situation. Remember, your partner's view is just as real as yours, even though they may be different. There are totally no objective realities. Do not allow counter demands to come in till the first demand isn't met. Otherwise, again, we will just be going about in loops and there has been no clear-cut resolution. I don't know how many times I say this: avoid your loved one's vulnerabilities or emotional sensitivities, which means no hitting below the belt. Talk with each other with a form of mutual respect. Your discussion should actually include not just my feelings and needs, but also your feelings and needs. I'm honoring you as a person as well. And then the reality factors in a situation. Please remind yourself and your loved one that the goal of the discussion is resolution, and that it is we're looking for an outcome that creates a better situation for both of you. Engaging in a discussion to create solutions that meet both your needs often is, again, the ideal outcome, but of course it varies. If I had to literally tell you the nuts and bolts of how to resolve conflicts, the steps to fair conflict resolution, let's say the person who has the problem is bringing it up as soon as possible. Before you bring up the problem, think it through in your own mind. Am I reacting to something or is it actually an issue which involves 2 or 3 of us? State the problem as clearly and as concretely and specifically as possible. Again, using the following format. I am feeling angry because the way you treated me at your parents' house. So again, I am feeling and a behavior. It's important that you both understand what problem has been brought up, which means no defensive reactions. The partner who's on the receiving end and who's listening to this may use the following format. I hear you saying you feel this way because of this. And after reflecting, and if it's still not clear, you can ask things like, tell me more, describe. What is it that specifically upset you? Again, calm, peaceful. When both partners agree on what the gripe has been or what the issue is, the first partner may come up with a possible solution. to changes that both can make. I can make you understand what is it that I want. I would like to suggest you X, Y, Z. So in that way, you're actually specifying a possible outcome. Again, not that I'm saying this so you have to agree. Solution can be agreed on, discussed on. There may be a counter proposal. Again, it involves changes that both of you need to make. Discuss several options if you need to, and agree to hone in and zone in on one proposal that is most workable. Again, not right or wrong, but workable. Once you have agreed on an idea, proceed to talk about it, decide how you put it in action, who will do what, when, and how. So again, when you're looking at a potential situation arising, how can we foresee us responding in a way that the conflict doesn't arise again? Can there be something which could sabotage the agreement? Maybe somebody doesn't have the trust and say, but you know what, I still know you're going to do the same thing. Again, please work through those. Whatever be obstacles you may already foresee, don't hold back in discussing them. Working through a conflict may stir up some emotions because it likely means you have given up a position of you. That's again, the goal is not to who's right, who's wrong, whose suggestions are taken. We need to meet halfway. Congratulate each other or appreciate when somebody has actually stepped down from his position for the sake of the relationship, saying, I really appreciate you doing this for me. That just means that you're valuing the person and not just taking for granted. You honestly have good reason to celebrate. Agree to come back to this problem after some time to reassess how that agreement has been. So you may feel, my God, this is just so much communication. We've never done it. Feels so unusual. Trust me, one of the most silly analogies I use, why do we take our cars for servicing every so often? We are using them, right? Why can't we do that to our relationships also, where we say, how are we doing or what can we do better to make our relationships thrive? In a nutshell, and I'm leaving you with a puzzle, effective communications should honestly have the following ingredients. Listen to each other with an open heart and mind. Validate each other and acknowledge each other's thoughts and feelings, and express yourself sensitively, softly, clearly, simply. The puzzle is, could you figure out the acronym with the words that I have used in those sentences? So on that note, here's to making a commitment towards effectively communicating with ourselves and our loved ones. Stay well, stay safe, take care.